Good morning, everybody. We are going to spend a little bit of time this morning on practicing inferences, um, meaning that we're going to make some inferences based on what we know and what we read to answer some questions. Now, when we make an inference, we're kind of playing like we're a detective because we are looking for things that aren't said outright in whatever we just read. So it's not looking for details like, what color was her dress? Her dress was red. Well, how do you know? Because it says she was wearing a red dress. This is reading a passage and then having to pick apart to find the clues that help us answer the questions. I have three passages that we're going to read together and answer some questions about. Let's go. Every day after work, Paul took his muddy boots off on the steps of the front porch. Alice would have a fit if the boots made it so far as the welcome mat. He then took off his dusty overalls and threw them into a plastic garbage bag. Alice left a new garbage bag tied to the porch railing for him every morning. On his way in the house, he dropped the garbage bag off at the washing machine and went straight up the stairs to the shower as he was instructed. He would eat dinner with her after he was presentable, as Alice had often said. So let's think, what type of job do you think Paul does? Well, I think he might be a farmer or a construction worker, somewhere that he's going to get dirty. How do I know that? Because I look at that first sentence and it says, Paul took off his muddy boots. The third sentence, he took off his dusty overalls. These are all things telling me that he does some kind of job that he's getting very dirty. Question 2, describe Alice and what in the text supports your description. Alice is a neat freak. She likes everything to be neatly organized and clean. How do I know that? There's a sentence right there that says Alice left a new garbage bag tied to the porch. Why is she doing that? So that her husband, or I'm assuming her husband, so that Paul could pack all of his stuff up without bringing it into the house. So what kind of relationship do Paul and Alice have? Well, I think that they are somehow related. They're either husband and wife, or maybe just brother and sister, or two people that live together, maybe boyfriend and girlfriend. I feel this way because you can tell that Alice cares about Paul by leaving that garbage bag tied up to the porch railing, by Paul coming home and caring about the fact that Alice would be upset if he brings all that dirty stuff inside, so that he takes his boots off on the steps of the front porch, that he takes off his dusty overalls and puts them in the garbage bag that he then drops at the washing machine. This is a sign of respect on both parts. Paul really cares about Alice, and Alice cares about Paul. Crack! Thunder struck and rain poured. Max stared blankly out the window, trying to contain his emotions that raged like the weather. He was beginning to lose it. Dropping the kite from his hand, Max broke out into full sobs. His mother comforted him. There, Max. We'll just find something else to do. She began to unpack the picnic basket that was on the counter and offered him a sandwich. Max snapped. I don't want a sandwich! A flash from the sky lit up the living room. Boom! Mom sighed. Why is Max upset? Max appears to be upset because it's starting to rain and there's a thunderstorm going on. How do I know this? Because I look at it and it says, Max stared blankly out the window, trying to contain his emotions that raged like the weather. So he's having all of this stuff going on inside of him that he's trying to contain. So he's upset because it's raining. What do you think Mom was planning on doing that day? Well, if we look at this sentence, she began to unpack the picnic basket. She was probably planning on taking Max to a park to have a picnic. He had his kite, and then she had to unpack the picnic basket when things didn't exactly go the way they had planned, and it started to rain and thunder. Today was a special day in Miss Smith's class. Some of the children were walking around the room. Some of them were standing in small groups, and some of them were at their desks putting finishing touches on cardboard mailboxes. After coloring a cool flame on the side of his race car mailbox, Johnny hopped off his chair, strutted over to Veronica's desk, and dropped a small white envelope into her Princess Castle mailbox. Veronica blushed and played with her hair. While this was happening, Bartleby was frantically trying to put a small white envelope into everyone's mailbox. After giving one to Miss Smith, Bartleby pulled out a medium-sized red envelope from his pocket. He blushed and tried to put it in Veronica's mailbox, but it wouldn't quite fit. Bartleby struggled with it for a few seconds and then ran off with the envelope. Veronica rolled her eyes and popped her gum. So why was today a special day? We can assume, we can infer that today was Valentine's Day. Now, I know this because they're talking about making cardboard mailboxes. They're talking about handing out little envelopes. And those are all things that we normally associate with a Valentine's Day party. So which boy does Veronica like? Veronica likes Johnny. How do I know this? Because Veronica blushed and played with her hair. It's kind of a way of not drawing attention to herself. Now, on the flip side, what boy likes Veronica? We're going to say Bartleby really likes Veronica because they specifically say that he's trying to put a small white envelope in everyone's mailbox, but then he gets to Veronica's mailbox and he pulls out a medium size, so it's bigger and it's red from his pocket. And he blushes trying to put it in her mailbox, but it wouldn't quite fit. So we see that Veronica likes Johnny and Bartleby likes Veronica. But we don't know if Johnny returns the affections that Veronica has for him. Okay, so these are just some examples of how we make inferences. You can make inferences on a daily basis. It's not just a reading skill that we practice. You can make inferences like it's cloudy outside today. So you can assume, you can infer that most of the time when it's cloudy, it's going to rain. But here's something you don't need to infer. I miss you guys, and I can't wait to see you again. Have a great morning. Bye.